Hello everybody, welcome back to Guided Reading, where today we are going to focus on chapter 16. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read, pause as we go for the different questions, and then finish off by finishing the chapter. Okay, so chapter 16, All You Need Is Love. Elliot jolted awake with a gasp early Sunday morning. He'd spent a troubled night. When he had made his mum's supper the previous evening, he'd found the remains of a cake he hadn't bought. Who had been in the house? He'd tried to find out from Josie what had happened, but the day was already a distant memory, and Elliot didn't want to push his mum's tired mind any further. Even though an owl was still hooting her night music outside his window, Elliot got up to prepare for the day. And I'm going to pause there. Really simple Rex retrieval question for you. What had Elliot found the previous evening? What noise could he hear as he got up? Okay, so you can pause me, and then you have a go at answering, unpause when you're ready to move on. Okay. So, he felt uneasy leaving Josie again, especially with Patricia Porchley Plum on the prowl. But he needed to find that Earthstone to save their home. It was for the best in the long term. Once he'd saved Home Farm, he could get back to taking care of Mum. After he'd sorted the laundry and cleaned the house, he quickly went through what had become his morning routine, making sure that Mum was washed and dressed, cooking her breakfast, and then making a sandwich for her lunch, leaving it on the kitchen table in a clear plastic tub so that it would stay fresh and she could see it. "Mum, will you fold the laundry while I'm out?" he shouted. "Of course, lovely. Leave it in the kitchen. I'll see to it after breakfast." With a grimace, Elliot dumped the neat pile of laundry he'd carefully folded earlier that morning on the kitchen table. He had learnt that the best way to keep Josie in the house was to make sure she had something to do. She could spend hours on a single task, and Elliot could always sort it out again when she got home. As soon as Josie was settled in front of her breakfast, Elliot kissed her on the head. "Remember, that important parcel is due today, so make sure you stay in," he said. "Yes, bossy bum," she said as she squeezed him back. Elliot had also discovered that telling his mum there was a reason to stay in the house helped to keep her there, even though she couldn't always remember what the reason was. The fact that it was a Sunday and there was no important parcel didn't occur to her. "Good morning, Elliot." "Good morning, Josie, Mum," said Virgo cheerfully, untroubled by not being invited in. "Elliot, they're waiting for you in the shed." "Who's waiting for you, Ellie?" said Josie. "And who's this?" "The builders, Mum. They've come to fix the shed," said Elliot quickly, wincing at Virgo's spectacular lack of subtlety. "And this is—" "Virgo, we met yesterday," said Virgo, looking confused. "Did we? I don't worry about it, Mum," said Elliot, pushing Virgo outside. "Stay here, please. I'll see you later." "Love you, baby," his mum said, starting on the pile of laundry. Elliot and Virgo headed towards the cowshed, which was clanking with an orchestra of building noise. "What's wrong with your mother?" asked Virgo plainly. "Nothing," said Elliot in reply to the question he had been dreading for so long. "She's just tired." "She didn't recognise me, although I clearly introduced myself yesterday," said Virgo. "I have been researching mortals, and this is not normal. What's what informs me that mortals are largely friendly creatures who like to discuss the weather and prefer their negative thoughts to be expressed behind someone's back or on social media. Is your mother suboptimal?" "She's fine," said Elliot defensively. "It's been a tough year." "Perhaps you should replace her with a mother in full working order," Virgo suggested. Elliot laughed sadly. "It doesn't work like that," he said. "You can't replace your mum." As they walked across the field, Elliot's feet sank into the newly ploughed soil, which had been hard as rock just hours ago. But before he had time to unstick his shoe, he was knocked sideways as a fully grown tree, laden with apples the size of bowling balls, burst out of the ground. "Mind how you go," laughed the ruddy-faced woman in overalls. "I'm Demeter, goddess of the harvest. Hope you don't mind if I do a spot of gardening." She continued to scatter seeds, which immediately sprang up into mouth-watering, oversized fruits and vegetable plants. No, thanks," Elliot smiled back as he waded through the field, wondering how he was going to explain giant banana trees in the middle of a damp Wiltshire farm to anyone who came looking. He pulled open the door to the cowshed, but was immediately knocked down by a swarm of tiny people who came just to above his knees. "Cushions!" yelled a petite, dark-haired goddess, dressed in a smart red suit, who was marching around with a clipboard and a pair of golden glasses perched on the end of her nose. "What the?" spluttered Elliot, struggling to his feet, only to be bowled over again by another gaggle of pint-sized people whizzing past him in a cloud of smoke. "Pennants," said Virgo, as she too was sent flying by the workers, who Elliot could now see were made from clay, wax, silver, or gold. They work for Hestia, goddess of the hearth. What she can't do with MDF and some sticky-back plastic isn't worth knowing. Hestia strode past with a quick smile, muttering about colour schemes and creating space. Zeus was reclining on a makeshift hay sofa, reading the Daily Argus, apparently oblivious to the chaos around him. He gave Elliot a warm grin. "Good morning, old boy," he roared happily. "Ready for the day?" "I guess," said Elliot, wondering if today was going to be as mind-blowing as the one before. "Good show," said Zeus, struggling off the sofa before it was swept away by some pennants. "First off, we need to get to my daughters, Athene and Aphrodite. But I'll need your help. They're a pair of feisty fillies, and they might better behave with a smashing new face around. We'll start with Aphrodite. You'll like her. Most boys do." Elliot had zero interest in girls, and Zeus's daughter wasn't going to be any different, but he smiled politely. "Why have you guys come to England?" asked Elliot. "Why not Barbados or somewhere?" "We needed a place where a group of eccentric individuals with strange personal habits could fit right in," explained Zeus. "England seemed an unnatural choice." "Makes sense," said Elliot with a proud grin. "Peg!" Zeus hollered at his horse, who was lying down with a pencil in his mouth doing the crossword. "Saddle up!" "Imbecile!" shouted Pegasus, rising to his hooves. "Steady on, old chap," scowled Zeus. "I might not be the brightest star in the constellation, but that's a bit—" 14 across. A stupid person, 8 letters, explained Pegasus. Although if the helmet fits. "Hermes and Virgo, you start tracking down Hypnos, but tread carefully," said Zeus. "The demon of sleep always was as nutty as a squirrel's packed lunch." "Demon of sleep," said Elliot. "That doesn't sound very scary." "He was scary, all right," said Hermes. "Total psycho. He abuses sleep trumpet to torture mortals and immortals, making them fall asleep, keeping them awake, or giving them impossible dreams and banging nightmares. He's dangerous. I am not even joking." "So let's find him," said Virgo, handing Hermes the eye god he was searching for. "We get him, we'll get the Chaos Stones, and put Thanatos back under Stonehenge." "Nice one. Last one to spot him is last season's sweater dress," grinned Hermes. "That's the ticket," said Zeus amiably. "See you later." Pegasus knelt to help Zeus and Elliot clamber aboard. "Come on, Peg! Giddy up!" yelled Zeus, strapping on the invisibility helmet before spurring Pegasus onto a gallop. 1, 2, 3 giant strides, and they were climbing into the morning sky, leaving the industrious immortals far below. It was another beautiful cruise through the sky, but as they floated over the sun-bathed countryside, Elliot voiced a thought that had been playing on his mind overnight. "What powers do you all have?" he asked. "The gods, I mean." "That depends, old boy," said Zeus. "Athene is the goddess of wisdom, so there's not much she can't figure out. She's also a dab hand at arts and crafts, so she can create anything out of anything. Aphrodite, goddess of love, she can make anyone fall in love, often with her. Hephaestus, god of the forge, he's a bit of a wizard of inventions. Hermes, he's our messenger, but he can also turn himself, or anything else, into whatever he wants. And as for me, well, I can do a bit of everything. Jack of all trades, master of none." Elliot sensed that Zeus was being modest, but had a more pressing question to ask. Now, I'm going to move on. Oops, sorry, let me get rid of that. I'm going to move on to the next slide. A little bit of summarising she before you, please. So, thinking about what I've just read to you, can you name all of the gods, goddesses? What do they specialise in? Write us a little list to summarise. You can always rewind back and listen to me reading that bit again. All right. right, so you can pause here. And now I'm going to move on to the rest of chapter 16. Do any of you have healing powers? He asked quietly. Can anyone cure people? I'm afraid not, said Zeus gently, making Elliot wonder again if he could read his mind. I'm afraid we're often better at creating problems for mortals than solving them. Elliot's mind flashed back to Stonehenge. I can do what the gods cannot, Thanatos had said. Was that a lie? Thank the heavens Zergo got you out of there yesterday, said Zeus, interrupting Elliot's thoughts. Yeah, he groaned. She mentioned it once or twice. She's quite something, laughed Zeus. I know legendary heroes who wouldn't have had half her courage. Mind you, I also know 20-headed monsters who don't talk half as much, but one thing I've learnt about women is to take the rough with the smooth. Ah, we're here. Good-o. Elliot clung on to Pegasus as the horse gracefully landed on a quiet patch of sand behind some beach huts. Brighton, said Zeus, huffing and puffing off the horse. How I do like to be beside the seaside. Back in 2 ticks, Peg. Diet, said Pegasus. Beg pardon, said Zeus. 6 down. A healthy eating regime, 4 letters, said Pegasus, pulling the crossword out of his saddlebag with his teeth. See you later, said Zeus, taking off his invisibility helmet and wriggling his Hawaiian shirt over his belly as he ushered Elliot across the beach. They walked up to the promenade and crossed into the winding streets of the town. It had been over 3 years since Elliot's last trip to the seaside. He and Mum used to camp on the Jurassic coast, spending every sunny moment on the fossil-filled beaches and every rainy one playing cards as the water hammered down on their cosy tent. The smell of the salty air, mingled with salty chips, transported Elliot back to some of his happiest memories. Now, Elliot, here's the thing about my girls, Zeus began as they reached a bright pink door emblazoned with Eros in lipstick red letters. They are both beautiful, powerful, intelligent women who are a credit to their old dad. But I can't lie. Put them together and they're like 2 harpies fighting over a half-price handbag. Need to handle this one with kid gloves, if you catch my drift. Sure, said Elliot, with precisely no idea what Zeus was talking about. Good lad, muttered Zeus as he pressed the bright pink buzzer. Zeus and Elliot entered the reception area, which looked as though someone had lost a fight with a pink paint pot. Everything was pink, from the walls to the ceiling to the lip-shaped chairs dotted around the room. Welcome to Eros, where love don't cost a thing. Terms and conditions apply, the receptionist chanted. I'm Sally. Well, aren't you just a pretty little thing, drawled Zeus. Can you tell Miss Venus that her old dad's here and that I'd like to take her receptionist out for dinner? Sally turned a shade of pink that perfectly matched her suit. I'll give her a ring, she giggled, picking up the top lip of the pink mouth phone. Keep being so beautiful and I'll be giving you the ring, Sarah, said Zeus. It's Sally, Sally giggled. It's irrelevant, Zeus grinned, picking up her hand and kissing it. Elliot gazed round the waiting room, which was filled with people who looked single. Photographs of Eros success stories lined the walls, hundreds of married couples grinning at the hopefuls from every surface. What I'm going to do, guys, I've only got a minute left of my recording, so I'm going to pause here. You will be able to find another video with me just finishing off the chapter. We've got about 6 pages left. Okay, so we shall find out who this Miss Venus is. All right, take it steady. I'll see you in a bit for the rest of the chapter.